Hey everybody, it's me Stacy here at Scrapbooking Made Simple, and it's time for Saturday with Stacy, YouTube number 246. This YouTube is the next collection of Simply Defined dies and stamps. It is the April 2018 collection of Simply Defined dies and stamps. That means if you're watching this in April 2019, we're probably sold out of these. I'm very, very sorry. But if you're watching April 2018, woohoo for you! This is the next release of my dies. I design and manufacture Simply Designed and Simply Refined. Those are my two lines, and I think I have a wonderful YouTube for you today. This is a class without question. All of my YouTubes are a class. They're not a quick demo. Speed it up over, talk super fast and wham bam and here it is. This is to really teach you how to craft and how to use the things you may already own. And that's the case in this YouTube. I'm pulling in different products that you probably already have so that you can rediscover how fabulous some of the product is you already purchased. I'm also going to be using kind of paper. I mean, it's not so bad. It's paper that I used in another YouTube and I didn't bring up other paper, but I want to show you how you can take old paper that you don't like anymore, that you've had since 1989 or 1992 or even 2001 or even 2015 that you thought you loved. You loved this paper. You were sure you loved this paper until you got home and about a month later you actually looked at it and go, what? I didn't, maybe I don't love this paper after all. I want to show you how you can use that so that you also get your money out of that. You've already bought it. Let's use it. Now, there's a lot going on in this YouTube without question, so you may want to take notes, absolutely. And if you place an order from this YouTube, put in the notes section of your order when you're placing your order, YouTube number 246. That way when you get your package, you can go back and you can review the YouTube and say, oh yeah, I remember now, yeah. In this collection, I have got the 6 dies that make up the I Want It All bundle. So 6 dies that are $13.99 each, or if you buy the entire little I Want It All bundle, it brings them down to $9.99 a die. And yes, they are full-size dies. Then I also have the contour die, which is a little bigger and it's sold separately. And I have must-haves for you this month. So the must-haves have been incredibly popular because we tried to give you every bit of value that I possibly could. Oh my gosh. And this month is rectangles. So if you have the rectangles must-haves from 2017, this is the next set of rectangles. There's no 2 dies that are duplicated between the 2 sets. And yes, they will work and interchange completely with each other without any question. Oh my gosh, they are a must-have. And I think once I show them to you, you'll understand why they're a must-have. Now, this is my Boys to Men collection. And after my collection last year of Be Who You Are, which was a girl collection, I had a lot of comments. Well, you have boys. Why don't you do a boy collection? Cookie, this is for you, girl. This is for our SMS Peep Cookie. Here it is. It's a boy collection. I hope you like it, Cookie. So when I sat down to do this, I tend to design towards the pretty. There are some designers who do cute, lawn fawn, super cute, adorable, very punny. Then there's more grungy kind of designers. I tend to go towards the pretty. So I didn't know if I could do a boy collection, but I have 2 boys. So when it was time to try, I just kind of sat down and thought about them growing up. And then it just came right out. It was one of the quickest collections I think I've ever done. It just flowed right out. So I hope that you like it. And just know that it's meant to be used for your little ones, even if your little one is 65 or 75 or 85 years old. If your favorite little boy is your husband, yeah, I think that you'll find that these will work for your husband as well, or your grandfather, or your uncle, or your stepdad, or your father-in-law, or your grandbaby, or your great-grandson, And if you add a little ponytail, you can change some of these into girls. Shh. So we've got all of that for you. I'm going to be playing with embossing powders. I'm going to be playing with kind of yucky paper. I'm going to be playing with dyes. We've got Marabu crayons for you. A lot going on. But first we have Winner Winner Chicken Dinner to talk to. Oh, and the shop that did not hop. The shop that did not hop update. 94 400s. That's where we're at. 94 400s. So if you are 94 399, 398, 397, your orders are already in process. If your order is 94 401, upwards another 200, and you wanted to pay later, keep a lookout for it. It will be on its way to you soon. Keep in mind, if for some reason you chose a pay later and you chose not to pay on these orders, unfortunately you won't be able to shop in the next shop that didn't hop sale. The product's already been purchased. I've already paid for it. Now it's just a matter of getting it out to you. So if you chose that wonderful pay later option, which means you've had all of these months to save up for it, when you get that invoice, we would just so greatly appreciate that you pay for it. And if you need a little extra time, call us. It's okay, we understand. Call us. So anyway, that's the update on the shop that didn't hop. Spellbinders warehouse sale. First update for you on that. Spellbinders is shipping in the balance of the product. It's on its way to us. And once we get it here, we'll start inventorying it. We want to get through the shop that didn't hop, and then we are going to start processing the Spellbinders warehouse sale. And next week is super special. Next week is National Scrapbooking Day, which means I will have doorbusters for you. I will have exclusives for you. I will have deals and steals that you cannot pass up. And I will have an amazing YouTube. We are the first in, I think in the world to have this product that we will have for you next week. And I have something incredibly special from a designer who has won my heart over, and we have it exclusively. So exciting stuff for next week. Now, Winner Winner Chicken Dinner. Are you ready? All right, it's the selection of Spellbinders cut and emboss folders. Weren't those beautiful? Like I said, I had design envy. I tend to design to the pretty, and those were so pretty. Okay, who has one? Sherry Nansen? Oh, Kayla, I'm not sure if that's an S or a V. Nansen? Okay. Oh, it looks like an S. That's a Kayla S. Sherry Nansen. I'm just going to hold it up. Sherry, I'm hoping that it's zooming. Is that you, Sherry? If that's you, you're a winner chicken dinner. Congratulations. Woohoo! Okay, but you're not alone. We have, oh, so much easier. Patsy, is it Osborne? Yep, Osborne. I'm going to go with Osborne. Hello, Patsy. How are you doing today? There's your winner chicken dinner. I bet you two never thought you'd see your names up there on that screen, but there they are. How do you claim your prizes? So easy. And what did you win? Well, you won a selection of the Spellbinders cut and emboss folders that are only available at Scrapbooking Made Simple. Okay, do your happy dance. You're a winner, chicken dinner. You're a winner, chicken dinner. Okay, happy dance done. Girls, how do you claim your prize? Go to scrapbookingmadesimple.com. Scrapbookingmadesimple.com. Find the link that says winner chicken dinner. Follow the directions. Send us your email. We'll confirm that you're our winner, and we will get your prizes right on out to you. Congratulations. You are going to love those folders. Okay, so that's now taken care of. All right, so again, I have got the newest release of Simply Defined for April 2018. So if you were watching this in April 2019, these dies are probably sold out, and I'm very, very sorry, but we only do one and done. When they're gone, they're gone. So, but if you're watching this in April 2021, don't I look good? Or you're watching it in 2031, then I look really good. Okay, I'm gonna tilt on down. We're gonna get started for today. It's good to see you guys. Down we go, bye. 2031, how old would that make me? Well, and see, we're slightly off, and I just worry about it. I don't know how, I think my tripod is off. I'm gonna just tilt just a little bit so we're a little more square. Is that a little more square? Did I make it worse? All right, and then I'm gonna zoom in. Maybe I made it worse. Zoom in. Yeah, maybe I think I made it, you know, maybe I should have just left it the way it was. I can't tell. All right. Well, I know I am gonna move this over just a little bit. Should we be okay? Are we not okay? All right, I'm going with it, people. This is it. I can zoom in just a little bit more because somebody had commented, could you try and zoom in more? So I'm gonna try and zoom in a little bit more. I don't have the overhead camera, so I can't give you a drop-down shot. I'm a one gal show. Okay, so this is the make and take we have going on downstairs right now. And this is what everybody is doing. And yes, this is one of my new dies, absolutely. And the die is called You've Got a Friend in Me. Can you see he's holding the little bird? Now that die, the reason why we called it is You've Got a Friend in Me is because you actually get the words, the dies that say, You've Got a Friend in Me. You also get the sun, you also get more birds, and they're all separate dies, so you can use them as you see fit. That sun and the birds can be used all by themselves without the little boy. But that's the set that we used for this card right here, and we did use the Marabu markers. We also used Stampendous detail embossing powder. But we didn't do a single emboss, we did a double emboss. Now, I'm gonna be working with the embossing powder and I'm gonna be showing you double embossing and a few other things. So I think the first thing that I wanna do is, I think I'm going to die cut. So I'm gonna put this one aside for right now. Put it right there. And I think I'm going to bring over some of that paper. Now, mind you, I just pulled paper that I was using in earlier YouTubes. Okay, easy peasy. And you know, maybe this isn't my most favorite paper. Don't remember who makes it, and it may be fabulous for you, but do you have paper that you were not crazy about, that you thought, oh my goodness gracious, why did I get this? And then you let it sit there and it just takes up space. Now is the time to use it. Now I'm gonna be die cutting this paper, but before I do that, I wanna go ahead and make this paper a sticker. So I'm gonna take some of my Stacy tape and I am going to make a sticker. So I'm gonna put it right on the back of my paper. That instantly makes this paper a sticker. If I pull this off, it's now a sticker. But I want to die cut. So I'm going to, I think I'm going to trim it down just a little bit so I know where. I'm going to trim it down just a little bit so I can see what I'm doing. I'm going to pull my die. Oh, I think that'll be good enough. Trim him down just a little bit. And I'm gonna die cut. So I have got my Sizzix Big Shot machine right here. I am working with my multi-purpose platform, which is right here. I'm going to keep it closed. Keep all my tabs closed. Now, it doesn't matter if you have the large one or the small one. We're working with a wafer die. Can you see how wafer thin that is? A wafer die, which means you're going to keep this platform completely closed. I am going to work with my chrome precision base plate. This is, oh, there. Hello. There I am. Hello. So this is the new Sizzix Chrome Precision Base Plate. It takes the place of the previous versions of the Precision Base Plate. If you already have a Precision Base Plate, do you need the Chrome one? No, not necessarily. This is more of a want than a need if you already own a Precision Base Plate. If you do not own a Precision Base Plate, then this is the one you're going to want to purchase, and this is the only one we sell now. It allows an intricate die to bite into that paper and cut out. Do you have dies that you like try and cut and cut and cut and the little bits and pieces won't fall out? That's what this is for. That's to help it. And while this is not necessarily an overly intricate die, some of the little grass blades at the bottom are a little, I am using Stacy tape on the back of my paper and I want it to cut. So that makes it a little bit harder for a wafer die. So I'm just going to use my precision base plate so that I'm sure to get a really nice good cut. Now my precision base plate goes down. You should not be able to read the directions. If you can read this and you're about to cut, you need to stop. Put the brakes on it. Slow your roll, as my child told me. I'm like, excuse me? He said, sorry, Mom. I said, thank you. So you want the mirror facing you. And if you have an older precision base plate, the same holds true. You do not want to be able to read those directions. You want that metal surface facing you. Then goes down your paper and then your die. Your die is going to bite right into that metal. There we go. Line it up a little bit. Now I have got a straight surface or a straight line. My die has got a straight line right across. And if I send that through my machine, it may make a very loud ka-thunk because that straight line is hitting the straight roller at the same time. Two parallels are going to go ka-thunk. And if I don't want to hear that, and it won't hurt the die and it won't hurt the machine if it does go ka-thunk. If I don't want to hear that, all I have to do is rotate my die just a little bit. And what's going to happen is now instead of taking that straight edge all at one time, it's going to gradually feed, starting at the corner up here and feed down. And there will be a less of a ka-thunk, if any. Now, here's my cut plate. You can see it's pretty cut into. You do not want to use your do not cut plate when you are using your precision base plate because the force and the pressure will leave an indent to it. So grab the oldest cut plate you've got, the yuckiest cut plate you've got. That's what you want to use. So I'm going to roll through. See, that wasn't so bad. Roll through. And then I'm going to do a rotate. So, and I can actually take that piece off. And now I just want to rotate the die a little bit so it hits the wheel in a new and unique way. I could rotate it all the way. I could, but I don't want it at a flat angle. I kind of want it on a diagonal. There we go. And send it back through. Okay. So let's bring it over and see what we've got. Okay, first and foremost, I would not throw this piece away. This piece is a sticker. I would be die cutting words and I would save this piece because when I show you what you're gonna do with this, you'll understand that this is still good to use. I wouldn't throw it away. And that says a lot for me because I throw away everything. I wouldn't throw it away. Now I'm gonna pop this guy right on out. There we go. Awesome. And there's my cut. Now, maybe you like him in the stripe. I don't know, could be. I've got my die right here. He's all done. I can pop out my little bits and pieces. But I don't want to leave him like this. I want him to be more. I want to change him. And I guess if we wanted to leave him like this, that means you really like the paper to begin with. But I'm using paper that I'm not overly crazy about. And I want to do something that's called a double embossing. Now, I've got my Versamark. And yes, you need an embossing medium. Versamark is the best on the market. Nobody does it better than Imagine Crafts, which is a Sukaniko product. And you can't go wrong with this. That's what the pad looks like. Yours will be a little nicer and cleaner. Mine's got schmutz and little bits of stuff all over it, but that's okay. Even as yucky as it gets, the pad never goes bad. If it starts to dry out, you just get a re-inker and re-ink it. You really don't ever throw this away. You just keep re-inking it. Now I want to take and I'm going to put my Versamark all over my guy. Now you're not going to see a big difference because Versamark is clear. It has no color. It's just a medium to help you emboss. Put that over to the side. So now maybe I can get a picture and you can see. Now you can see there's a sheen on him because he's wet. And that Versamark stays wet long enough for you to grab an embossing powder and throw it down on top of it. Bring my little trusty dusty 5x7 card base over because that's what I'm going to use. And I'm going to start with the Stampendous kit, which is your embossing powder basics. This is a great kit. If you don't already have any embossing powders, this gives you a little bit of everything. It gives you transparents, it gives you glitter embossing powder, it gives you detailed embossing powder. So you've got detailed gold and gold tinsel and detailed silver and detailed black and detailed white and detailed clear. Why is detail embossing powder so important? In fact, I'm going to grab my detailed black. Why is detailed embossing powder so important? Well, detailed embossing powder is finer than your typical embossing powder, which means the granules in there are super fine, which means when you're doing something that has a lot of detail work, this isn't going to melt and hide that detail. We're going to take powder and we're going to turn it into a solid. But the chunkier the powder is, the more it's going to spread when it melts. It will spread when it melts and it will lose that fine detail of your die or your stamp. If you're doing a text stamp and you're using regular embossing powder and you heat and the words are lost, they just become mush, you need a detailed embossing powder. And Stampendous does it in gold, silver, clear, black, copper, silver, clear, black, copper. What am I forgetting? I think I'm forgetting one. But they are amazing. Oh, white. I knew I was forgetting one. So now I'm going to take this powder, and we've been talking a little while, and yet my little dude is still, he's still wet, and I'm just going to dump. I am a dumper. I want to just cover my whole little guy. And you may be saying, oh my goodness, what a waste. Well, it isn't, because ultimately we're going to end up putting almost all of this back. We're going to tap him off, and where we don't have any embossing powder, we're going to come back and we're going to add some. And we're just going to make sure that we've got it all covered. And tap off. I'm missing here. And I'm missing a little bit on my, oh, that did good. That worked. A little bit on my frame and a little bit on my grass. Have a little spoon. Little spoon. The little spoon, the little straw with the spoon on the end comes with it. So that's kind of nice because it lets you get in there and tap and add. All right, now I got my fingers on it. All right, I think that's good for now. So now I've covered them all in black. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to, so this is how much I've used out of the jar. I'm going to tap myself back together. And I'm going to put it right back into my jar. So you can see we actually used almost nothing. I know that people have said, gosh, Stacey, that jar is awful small. And I'm like, I know it is, but you get so many of them to get a nice assortment. They give you a huge assortment of the smaller jars, but with embossing powders and microfine glitters, you use so little of it, almost all of it goes right back in. So don't be worried that the jar is small. It's enough, it's adequate to do what you want it to do. Now I'm going to bring this on over, and I'm going to tell you right now that I've missed a few spaces, but I'm going to be okay with that. And you can almost see where I've missed. Let me see if I can pick them up without getting my fingers all over them. You can almost see where I've missed a couple spaces where it's not as heavy, but that's where the double embossing comes in. And I'm going to take him, and now I'm going to heat. And for those of you who have never seen embossing, first off, we don't use the cylinder tool. We use the heated tool by Ranger. And yes, it takes longer to heat emboss. And what this heat is doing is it's taking this powder and it is melting it into a solid. It is almost like magic. Now, if I was using a cylinder embossing tool like this, it would almost be done by now. It throws off a whole lot more heat. The problem with it, though, is that I find a lot of our customers who are not avid embossers, they do it, you know, occasionally, they love it, they love the look, is that with that cylinder, it throws off so much heat, you can, in fact, burn your project. And who wants to burn their project? Now, I'm going to stop halfway through just so you can see that he's starting to go shiny. He's going from a powder to a solid. And if it's dry, I can now touch it. Where if I touch over here, it's still a powder, and I would wipe that powder all the way off. So when you think of embossing, there's a couple different types of embossing. There's heat embossing, which is what I'm doing right now. And you can see I'm holding my tool down very close. That's the beauty of a heated tool. You can get very close. It doesn't give off a lot of diffused heat, so it doesn't go everywhere, and it doesn't scorch or burn. And that's a really important thing. It's also important to know this is not a hair dryer. A hair dryer will not get hot enough to actually melt your powder into a solid. You need a heated tool, or if you're comfortable and you have the cylinder tool, it works fine. I just know that a lot of our customers are not overly comfortable with them. You burn a couple things and all of a sudden you don't want to emboss anymore because you don't want to waste your paper or your embossing powder or your time. So they stop embossing without knowing, gosh, if you just had a heated tool. So there we go. He's got one embossing done. But I want him to be more. I want him to see, can you see the little bumps and the little ripples in him? I want him to just look like resin, like high polished glass. And the way to do that is with a double embossing. And it's very easy to do. I recommend you always do your double embossing with a detailed embossing powder. And I can hear some of you right now saying, well, I have a chunky black detail or a chunky black embossing powder. Why don't I just use a chunky black embossing powder to get the same look, that same thick, high gloss? My worry is that if you do, and you can try, by all means, I always say try. My worry is that if you do, because it's chunky, you may lose some of the detail of your grass. Or you may lose the little space. Can you see that there's a little space in between the bird and his hand so that the bird is standing on his hand? If you use an embossing powder that's too thick because you just want to do one application, you have to know you may be giving up some of the detail of what you're working on. If you're okay with giving up that detail, go for it. But if you want to maintain all the detail of what you're working on, then stay with a detailed embossing powder and do it twice. Now, remember, I started with this paper right here. You can't tell what paper I used. It's gone. It's been hidden by the embossing powder. And no matter what embossing powder you use, with the exception of clear, you could have used copper, you could have used silver, you could have used gold, you could have used blue, you could have used brown. Embossing powder is opaque, and so it's going to cover all the paper that you don't like anymore. You can do that, I promise. And all of a sudden, you're not wasting your white paper, because who wants to waste their good white paper when they're just going to cover it up with embossing powder? No, grab your scraps, grab the things that you don't like anymore, and then cover that up with your embossing powder. So I want to add another layer of embossing. So again, I am going to throw my Versamark right over on top of him. Bring over and just dump. And I'm going right on top of that first embossing. I want to make sure that any place I missed the first time, I try and get the second time. And remember, I'm going to put most of this right back in. Give a nice little tap. Tap off your excess. Got a little piece of the die cut there, the little white piece. There we go. I'm going to lay him on down. Although I can see a little bit of white right there. There we go. I'm going to lay him on down. I'm going to gather back up the embossing powder I didn't use. You can see how much I poured on. So I'm a dumper. And then I'm going to put it right back in. And put it right back in. And now I'm back to almost full. I've used very, very little product. Then I'm going to take my heat gun and I'm going to heat him again. And what's going to happen is that that double embossing is going to give an even smoother, shinier effect. Any little dimples that he had are going to go away. And it's going to give this beautiful, beautiful high gloss, rich finish. And I can see him changing. And that's how I know to move, because I can actually see the embossing powder going from a powder to a solid. And that's how I know to move my heated tool. I can see where he's been all melted, and then I can just slowly move my heated tool to where it needs to now heat the next time. It doesn't take too long. And if you're very comfortable with a cylinder tool, go for it. If you are going to try this with a hair dryer, it's not going to work. Okay. I'm going to give him just a minute to cool. Well, it's not even really a minute, a couple seconds for him to cool down, and then I'll show him to you. And you will see just how high gloss he is. Okay. Now can you see how much glossier he is? He is amazing. He just has got this beautiful sheen to him. And if I wanted to go more, if I wanted him to even have more, I could certainly come in here. I've got my Versamark pen. That is the exact same product this is, only in a pen. That's all this is. This medium in a pen. And while these aren't refillable, they last quite a long time. And if I wanted to go in and maybe add a little bit more to his shirt to get it even thicker, I can do that. A little more Versamark to his shirt if I wanted. So now I've added a little bit more to him. And again, simple, you just pull your, I'm only gonna worry about him. Tap him off. Now I've only got Versamark where I want it. I've only got embossing powder where I want it, which is the beautiful thing about the pen. We call it an oops pen because it allows you to go in there, and if you just missed a few spaces and you didn't want to do the whole thing and put Versamark over the whole thing all over again, you just wanted to be specific, that's what this pen does. And it gives you 2 tips. So you've got a very fine bullet point and you have a brush tip. Now I'm going to put my embossing powder back again. I'm just going to dump it right on in. And I'm going to heat him one last time. So it's up to you how much you want to go. But if you're using something that's too chunky, if you're using an embossing powder that's too chunky, it will not work. You'll lose detail. Nope, and he's starting to turn, and he's starting to turn, and he's starting to turn, and he's turning and turning, and I can see. Okay, I'm going to give him a second just to cool down. And now you can see he's even a shinier, higher gloss. Double embossing gets rid of those little dimples and little marks that maybe you didn't want in your embossing. Maybe you wanted that high gloss, high glass finish. And he's beautiful. He is absolutely gorgeous. And he's done. He's dry. You don't have to wait a long time. He's dry. And you've taken what was a powder and you made it into a solid using paper that perhaps you thought you were going to throw away, or I don't know what you're going to do with it. But now, if you have this piece, remember the piece that I cut from? Because that's what I started. I could cut the words. You have a friend in me out of this. It's already a sticker. Versamark them, emboss them, and now I've got the whole thing done in black. I would not throw this away because you can cut your words at any time. Let's say you don't want to use this right now. Okay, put it away. Just remember next time you want to emboss some words, cut them out of this. It's already a sticker. It's ready to be done, and it's going to get covered up so you're never going to see that paper anyway. Now, like I said, I've got him a sticker. Oh, I think I might have missed just a little bit of a spot. I don't know. Right on his chin. I don't know if you can see it, but I might have missed just a little bit of a spot. I might want to go back in there, but I'm not going to do that right now. And because it's a non-stick craft mat, you let this cool down, you get yourself a nice wet wipey or a little spongy Adobe, and this is going to come right off. I wonder if I can even do it with a little Adobe. Yeah, I need something with a little more grit, but this is going to come right off because this is a non-stick craft mat. No problem. And you can see it took the heat without any problem. Now quickly, I want to make a background for him. So I am going to grab a piece of paper. That'll work. And I'm going to make a background for him. So I've just got a piece of white paper. And I want to do it quick and I want to do it easy. So I'm going to play with wet wipes, baby wipes. The less expensive, the better. I get mine from Walmart, from the Dollar Tree, the dollar store, Sam's Club. So the less money on the wet wipes, the better. They don't need to be tufted. They don't need to have a nice smell to them unless you want them to. They don't need to have aloe vera in them. The cheaper, the better. And I am going to take and make a background for him. So let's cut my paper down to size a little bit. Good. I'm going to take my Marabu crayons, which I used in a previous YouTube. We brought in the Marabu art crayons, and Marabu is more of a fine art company. Their art crayons are similar to a gelato. Can you use Marabu and gelatos together? Yes. The difference is Marabu gives you, the whole thing is filled. It's about 40% more product than gelatos. They are a little bit creamier. What are they? They are a soft pastel. They are and the reason they call them crayons is because Marabu is a company out of Germany, and in Europe, they think of a crayon as a fine art tool. They don't think of Crayola in Europe when they mention art crayons. They think of something, ho ho, she, fine art. But you can use these because they are so simple. Again, like a gelato, a little bit smoother, a little bit creamier, a little bit more intense on the pigment. But if you have gelatos, you can do the exact same thing. Or if you like some of the Marabu crayons, you can pick up some of those, you can pick up gelatos, you can mix them together. You have options. And I'm just going to show you one way that I use a Marabu crayon right now. So I want to make a quick background. I'm going to take my baby wipe, I'm going to take my Marabu straight to it. And you can already see it's very intense in color. Less is more with a Marabu. You do not need to put tons and tons and tons. In fact, I probably already have too much on here. And I'm going to take my baby wipe, and I'm just going to color my paper. Done. First color on, yellow. Now, I'm going to take my same baby wipe. Oh, I got a little more yellow over here. Take my same baby wipe and put some orange on it. And I'm going to go a little on top of the yellow and then down. And I'm going to blend those colors in. If I want more orange, I add more orange. Done. If I want more yellow, I can take my yellow, put it back on top of my orange on my wet wipey, come in and throw some more yellow down. And then the last color I'm going to do is red. Maybe some more orange. Well, we'll see. I'll do some red. I'm putting it right on my wet wipe. And then if I want some more orange to blend the orange in the red, I put some more orange. And I'm just going in the exact same place. And blend. Now if I wanted to add some more yellow, I wouldn't add it on top of the red, because that red is just too vibrant, too pigmented, too dark. The yellow would just get lost. I'm just going to add some more yellow right over the top. Pretty. So I've made a very quick watercolor background. I can't tell what it looks like in the camera. But I'm going to go with it. Now. Oh yeah, I'm happy. Oh, isn't he cute against there? And you got to remember, this die comes with the birds that fly and the sun. You could do the birds like we did in the... We've got the birds, and here we've done the Marabus very light. Look at the difference. That's a really good thing to do. Look at the difference. Both were done with the Marabu art crayons. I went very, very vibrant, and here we went very, very light. How did we get those streaks in there? Easy peasy. Little paintbrush, little bit of water, pick it up, or you can put it down on your craft mat. Pull that down just a little bit so you can pick it up on your craft mat, and you can add some streaks if you want some streaks into it. But mine is so pigmented, mine's so red. Okay, so a little bit of streaks. And you can just add some little streaks going through. If I want some yellow streaks, I can add some yellow. Pick it up with just a little bit of a paintbrush. My red is so intense that, that you're not gonna see it. I've got two, my red's very strong. So I'm gonna clean that up and clean that up. And remember, I made this into a sticker. So now I've got to peel my back off. Decide where I want him to be. And stick him down. Because I made him a sticker. So he's stuck. Throw my little piece away. That was the liner. I can trim him down. And he's good to go. So I made that background pretty much 1, 2, 3 ABC. Used yucky paper that I didn't like anymore. Used embossing powder, which you may already have. So you probably already have yucky paper. You may already have embossing powder. You may already have gelatos, and if not, you might even already have some Marabus. We just started carrying the Marabu brand of product, and it really is a beautiful brand. It is definitely a fine art quality product. And don't be worried about the fine art thing. That just means that the product is made of quality. It doesn't determine, it doesn't say you have to be a fine artist to use it. It says this is a beautifully made product and that fine artists love to use it. The fine art refers to the quality of the product, not the talent of the person who's using it. However, you will find if you're using something of better quality to start with, your end result is better. And because these don't necessarily come from the crafty scrapbooking world, the price on them is very, very affordable. Truly it is. So they only have, I think, 25 or 26 colors. And Gelatos by Faber-Castell, also a beautiful product. They have more colors. You get a little bit less. They're not quite as creamy, but you absolutely can blend them together. Look at how rich and how vibrant that color is. I used a baby wipe. I used a baby wipe. Okay, we are going to move on. So the next thing I want to show you, we're going to be embossing again, and heat embossing as opposed to dry embossing. And dry embossing would be with an embossing folder. So I am going to pick, I think, a different die. I think I'm going to use my Dude. Okay, so I'm going to be using, here, I'm having trouble with it. There you go. So you get the words, believe that you can. The words are all separate. They're not attached to the die, so you can use it with the little boy. You can use it without the little boy. You can use, it's really up to you. But you get all the words and you get the die. and this is Believe That You Can. And this time I'm gonna do things a little bit differently. I'm gonna take it to the next level. And I'm gonna pop out, because I was cutting with this guy a little bit earlier, I'm gonna pop out some of my little pieces. Now, I could again make it a sticker just by adding Stacy tape to the back. I'm gonna move on from that so we can get this die cut and get going. I'm gonna bring over my Sizzix Big Shot machine. I am definitely gonna use my precision base plate. So my sandwich is my multi-purpose platform, completely closed. My precision base plate, metal face up, directions face down. My paper, and this isn't such bad paper, but I had it up here. My paper, my die at just a slight angle. Now, because I'm going to cover this paper up with embossing powder, I don't care if my lines are not, the lines in the paper are not straight, that I'm cutting at an angle, because it's going to get hidden anyway. I'm going to send it on through. A couple little creaks and cracks. I really need to do it with my right hand. I am not a lefty. And there we go. I can get rid of the excess. Don't need this anymore. I can give them a little rotate and send them on back. I got tape on my precision base plate, some Stacy tape. Oh, but look at how nicely that came off. Wahoo could and send them on back. So the difference between this and the previous precision base plates is this one's chrome. And that means when that die is biting into it to get that beautiful cut, it does not leave a mark on your... Normally, there'd be little cuts all over this in an earlier precision base plate. No, not at all. This has been cut into like 100 times and there's still not one mark. So that's, if you don't have one, you need one. If you have one, your precision base plate's gonna do just fine for you. That makes this more of a want. You don't have to have it if you've already got one, but if you don't have one, then you absolutely need one, especially if you're gonna be cutting dies that are a little more intricate. And my dies tend to be a little more intricate. So let's get this guy on out. You can see the little bits and pieces are pretty much falling out as I'm pulling him out. Okay. Awesome. They all came out as I was pulling him out. I don't have anything to poke out or to pop out. Isn't that lovely? All right, and here he is. And he's super cute. I mean, he really is just darling on his own. Right? How cute is he? But I want to make him more. I want to do more with him. Maybe I want to explore and try new things. And maybe I do want to take my crafting in a different direction. Maybe I've been in a slump and I'm doing the same thing over and over and over again. Yet I have all of this stuff I already bought, but I don't know what really to do with it. Okay, here we go. Now we're going to play. I'm going to bring out my Earth and Sky embossing kit. This is exclusive to Scrapbooking Made Simple. It was made for me by Stampendous, and I did a whole YouTube on how to make a background, a beautiful background out of embossing powders and fragments. They're gorgeous. They really are. You get fragments in here, which are mica flakes. You get chunky embossing powders. You get vintage embossing powders. But I thought that this set really lended to this collection of dies because it's boy and the colors just gravitate. You've got the browns and the blues and the greens. So I wanted to play here and see what we could do. Now I'm going to be playing with my Versa marker. And I'm going to be coloring and painting with my embossing powder. And you're like, what? So I'm going to take my Versa marker, Get everything off of it. It's the embossing powder left over from the last one. Okay, so I'm going to come in here and I'm going to color just some of my probably shouldn't have colored that. I'm going to color just some of my die, getting that Versamark on all the little pieces. So as it stands right now, all I've done is my little blue area right here. That's all I've done. Now I'm going to grab one of my blue embossing powders and I'm going to dump it just on that area. And I'm going to tap off. So now I've got blue embossing powder on top where my water is. And I'm going to take this and I'm going to pour it all right back in. Now another way to do it, if you have daubers, little finger daubers, and we just came out with our own finger daubers, and thank you all. I appreciate all the kind words in the comments, because yes, we sell 20 of these for $9.99, or we sell the pack of 40 plus the little storage kit for I think $23.99. So all of you who were oh so kind to say, wow, really great price. Thank you. I'm gonna take my little finger dauber and I'm gonna put it right into my Versamark. And then I'm just gonna get this whole area. So I can either do this with my pen. Now you may be saying, well, why are you doing it in sections? Well, because I'm gonna use different colored embossing powders for different areas. And I don't want to put Versamark over my entire image. I want to do it step by step, color by color, to make it easier. So lots of Versamark on my tree, down here. And we're just going to add a little bit of, okay, let's add our next color of embossing powder. Bring over my card base. Let's find a green that makes my heart happy. We're gonna go with this green right here. And I'm gonna dump it all over where I put my Versamark. And where there is no Versamark, it will not stick. So I'm gonna tap that side off. And you can see now my tree is going to be green. I want my grass green, so I'm going to get my embossing powder all on him here. And move it around so it gets everywhere. But where there is no Versamark, it will not stick, which is why I did not add any Versamark to my little guy yet. I want to get it all on my leaves and on my frame, and then I'm want to do a tap off. And just a little more on my frame. And a little bit more up on my grass. All right. So now I've got my green where I want it, and I've got my blue where I want it. And if I wanted to, I could heat him right now. So let's do that. Let's go ahead and give some heat. Oh, and I need a little bit more blue. A little bit more blue. Well, you know what? We'll add it on the second go round. So let's heat him up. And I can slowly see it starting to change. And as I see it change, I move my heat tool. Because once you see it change, you don't need to stay there any longer. Once it goes from a powder to a solid, you are free to move on. And what a lot of people do is they do this. They do this. You don't see me doing that, do you? Because I need the heat to stay focused and concentrated in one area. If I'm doing this, I'm adding heat and then taking heat away, and then adding heat and then taking heat away. And the minute I take the heat away, it starts to cool, and then you have to move it back over and it has to start to reheat. So you want to leave it in one area until you see it change. A lot of people do this. I don't want to do that. I want to get that area all done. If I keep doing this, I'm adding heat, I'm taking heat. But if I stay in one place and I watch it change, that tells me to move on. Move on. And then I can come at it from this side and it will start to heat, and I can see it changing from a powder into a solid, and it's telling me to move on. All right. I think we're about done. And sometimes you have to change the angle to get the heat directed where exactly you want it. And you will be able to see little areas that are not changed. And that's how you know you haven't applied the heat enough. You need to go back and add that heat until you see it melt. If it looks like a little dull area, that means that you haven't heated. It's still a powder and it'll still wipe away. So you just go back, and with the heated tool, you will not burn. That's the most important thing, is that if this was a cylinder tool and I was not proficient in a cylinder tool, I would have burned everything by now. Okay, so this is where I'm at. So I've hidden the paper. Oh, see, you can see. Can you see that little dull spot right there? I didn't heat it enough right there. Can you see that? That's like a perfect example. That tells me I have to go back and heat that a little bit more. But before I do that, I'm gonna go ahead and do my little guy. And I'm just gonna add my Versamark right to him. With my dauber. Get them all over my dog. My little fishing line. And this time, I think I got enough on him. Looks good. This time I'm going to take my black and do him in black. So I've got my detailed black here, and this is only going to stick where the Versamark is. So every place else that's already been embossed, it's not going to stick to. And then tap him off. So everywhere that's already been embossed, it's not going to stick. It's only sticking to him. And if you really want to, say I got a little bit of Versamark on my green, I could just come back through and just wipe that right off. There we go, wipe that right off. All right, I'm gonna put my embossing powder right back in. Grab my heat tool and start to heat. Okay, so he's pretty much, I might go back and get that little spot so it doesn't bother me. Okay, he is pretty much done, but my doggy isn't, and I want to show you the difference. Can you see the high gloss on him versus the dull of the doggy? The little doggy tail is done, but that's the difference. This is still powder on the doggy. He has been changed into a solid. So now let me finish the doggy. Okay. All right. I think he looks pretty good. Give him a second to dry. It really doesn't take much time for it to cool. It's just a matter of cooling off. And now we've painted. Now I could come back. And get a little more blue in here if I wanted. But I took what was a piece of paper that I didn't like, and I made him into something. I took a piece of yucky paper and made him into something that I can be thrilled with. Look at how cute is he. And like I said, if you want to go back, you can certainly add your Versamarker, go back in, color, add a little bit more. You can even color up some of that green if you didn't want the green all the way there. You could add and put your Versamark right on top of that green and add the blue, and it would color it to blue. But look at how cute is he, not using any. I didn't use any inks. I didn't use glues. I used a Versamark and some embossing powder. And I bet you already have some of this. And then I have the opportunity again to color. And this time I'm going to take my Marabu and I'm going to make a background for him. And I'm just going to put a little bit of my blue. You can see how vibrant that is. A little bit of my blue down at the bottom. If I want it darker, I can go darker. If I wanted it lighter, I would add less. And then I think I'm gonna do a little bit of just a little bit of yellow at the top. Just a little bit of yellow, tiny bit, oodles, nothing, hardly anything. A little bit of yellow right at the top. Just a little bit of yellow just right at the top. And then I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna go a little bit lighter blue. Not as dark as the blue I put down on the bottom. So let's go just a little bit lighter blue. On a baby wipe. This is my kind of crafting. And then I'm gonna add some purple. Gonna add a little purple. This is Stacy's type of crafting. Just a little bit more yellow at the top. Oh, he's too short for the yellow. Oh, I could raise. Okay. So I raised him up. Should I cut him out? I want you to see, but I didn't make him a sticker. Oh, he's bendy. My paper, oh, maybe there. Oh, how's that? Okay, super cute, right? So let's trim it down just a little bit. Maybe that will help make it easier to see. And my paper's a little wet still. Yeah, I know, I free-handed it. I know. How cute is that? I need to tape him down, but my paper's too wet. Okay, easy peasy. Seriously, and we use stuff you already have on paper you didn't like anymore anyway, so there's no waste at all. I know you have black embossing powder. I don't know if you have any of the other colors, but if you do, great, pull them out. Don't spend your money on the Earth and Sky kit until you actually need the Earth and Sky kit. I can't pick it up. The beautiful thing about the Earth and Sky kit is that it has your browns, it has your greens, it has your blues, it has everything that you need. And if you don't have any embossing powder, then start with the basics. Start with the basics kit, because that's got the gold, the silver, the white, the transparent, the glittery. But all I used was embossing paper and some Marabu crayons to make the backdrop. Embossing powder and Marabu crayons. And now as my paper dries, I can certainly put Stacy tape on the back of him or wet glue, whatever makes your heart happy. You're gonna need something either wet or Stacy tape, and get him all nice and down. I wanna do it now, but I still feel my paper's a little wet. But used yucky paper. You would never know what's underneath there, would you? Never in a million years. Here, I did this one earlier. Same dude, only different sky. I don't know, that's why I wanted to use the purples and the blues. I wanted to do something a little different. I don't know, which one do you like better? This one or this one? This one or this one? And on this one, I used that brown paper. I used this. Ew. If you really love that paper, I'm sorry. So there you go. I think that playing with your embossing powders for more than what they were supposed to be. Most people just use their embossing powders to emboss words or to emboss a stamp to color in. But grab your die cuts and use those embossing powders as your paints. Use them as your colors, as your tools. Use them to make stunning images that have that beautiful, high gloss, vibrant look to them. It makes everything pop. Embossing powders give you, and the green here is a textured. So can you see the texture? So not only did you get the embossing powder, you've got the high gloss here, you've got textured over here. That gives dimension to your product or your project. And you can do this. You saw me do this. This was not hard. If you've got a baby wipe and some gelatos, play. If you want to play with the Marabu crayons, play. They're very inexpensive for the quality of product that they are and the amount that you get. Absolutely. And I do have my gelatos. They're sitting right there. I wouldn't give up my gelatos. I love them both, and for different reasons. So I just know that, oh my goodness, it would take a lot of gelato to get this intense of color. This is very intense, and it took very, very little. And with the Marabus as well, with the gelatos, you can take them and you can paint with them and make a much softer background, just super fast. Let's say I didn't want to have something so harsh, so vibrant. I wanted it to be a much softer look. All you have to do, put your Marabu right onto your craft mat. Marabu right onto the craft mat. Grab some water. Get your paintbrush wet, not wet, but wet. And you could go in and you can play with just soft, supple colors. And you can mix and you can match. Does not take a lot of water to make these Marabus work. Does not. But if you want it more of a softer look, then using the baby wipe, absolutely you can go in there and you can do that. Wipe off my paintbrush, grab some of my yellow, get my yellow going across the top. Absolutely. You can go in there and just paint with these. Make your background even softer. And then if you find yourself running out of time, that's fine. Then you grab your crayon and you grab your wet wipe and you put a little bit on there. So maybe you want your water a little softer and your sky a little bit softer, or your sun, but you want to go in there with your orange and you want to blend that in. It's however makes your heart happy, however you want to get it down. As long as you got a little bit of water with it, it goes a really long way. It's amazing what you can do with a baby wipe. Amazing. And you just make your backgrounds to whatever makes your heart happy. You really can't go wrong. And remember, you're only working on white paper with the Marabus. So what have you got into it? A little bit of white paper and your time. That's all you've got into it, is a little bit of white paper and your time. Make my color a little darker on the bottom. And I could go in with my yellow. And if I wanted to add a little yellow to the top so it's really, really vibrant at the top, put a little bit on my wet wipe and I could come back through and just make it really vibrant at the top. And you're just starting to get dimension. You're just starting to get beautiful, beautiful dimension, which then you can take and put your little dude on, and now you've got a totally different look. From this to that, which one makes your heart happy? The backgrounds, talk about ABC 1, 2, 3. All right. Okay, we did a lot, right? And I'm running behind, I think. I have no idea. When YouTube said, oh, Stacy, you can have a YouTube up to 12 hours long, I threw away my clock. I used to have a countdown because I could only do 15-minute YouTubes. I know, don't post. Gosh, I would wish you would do those 15-minute YouTubes again. It was just not me. I felt rushed. I felt like I couldn't say what I needed to say, and that it wasn't a class. I think that was the reason I hated those 15-minute YouTubes the most, is that I felt I wasn't teaching you anything. I was just showing you product, trying to teach you in that 15-minute time frame. But once YouTube said, oh no, go right ahead, you do one as long as you want. I need to get my little scraper in here, but you'll see it. See, it's coming right up. I just need to get a little Adobe. One of those little scrape, my husband, we use them in the kitchen to wash our dishes. And that'll come right up. So pretty. Okay, so I've got things to show you. But I did throw away my timer when I started to be able to do longer YouTubes. That way I feel like I've taught you something. And that's the most important thing. That's the most important thing, because if you don't if you don't feel comfortable crafting, you're not going to do it. And you see these wonderful products out there like, well, you won't see Earth and Sky, but you might have seen Basic someplace else and not know what to do with it. Now you know what to do with it. Now you know that embossing powder can be more than just your simple words. And now you know that you can add your embossing and powder on top of each other, on top of each other, on top of each other to get that super high gloss without losing the detail of the image by using a detailed embossing powder. Oh, so pretty. Okay, so we did go over a lot. We talked about doing a double emboss. We talked about painting with embossing powders. We die cut. We used our precision base plate. I think that's so lovely. We used yucky paper that we did not necessarily love. And we played with our new Simply Defined dies. I'm going to show you the products first, and then I'm going to get to all the samples the girls made. Now, I'm going to start really quickly with the must-haves. I'm just going to put them side by side. These are the rectangle must-haves. This is last year's version. And what it is you get a straight cut die, and then you get an inset of a stitched edge. And then you get a straight cut die, and then you get an inset of a stitched edge. So that you can either do frames if you put two of the straight cuts together. You can do your stitched edging on all of these sizes all the way down. You can do solid shapes. But then I had this much room at the bottom of all of my must-haves. So instead of a stitched edge for all of them, I also in the originals gave you a dotty edge and a crosshatch edge, so that you could make, you could just create forever, because you could take out the stitched edge and substitute it for a dotty or a crosshatch on these sizes. And then this year we did scallops. So now you've got a scallop edge with a much bigger dotty edge, a scallop edge with a much bigger dotty edge, and then I did a dot and dash edge, and then I did a frame edge. So what makes these so amazing, first off, there's 28 dies in each set, 28 dies, and they retail for $29.99. That is just $1 and a few cents for every die. There are companies that only sell this right here for $24, $25, $26. Just this size right here. We give it all to you. And we make it so that you can completely interchange. You can take the straight edge from this set, mix it with the big dotty from this set. You could take the crosshatch or the stitched from this one and mix it with the scallop of this one. They all work together. So the idea is that if you have both sets, you have even more unlimited uses. Truly, the must-haves are a must-have if you are a die cutter. This will give you everything you need for rectangles and more for about a third the price of what everybody else has out there on the market. It's called Keeping Crafting Affordable, because if you don't know how to use it and you can't afford it, well then you can't play, you can't enjoy your creativity. And as much as I'd like to think everybody, well, I don't know that I'd like to think it, but not everybody has an unlimited American Express card. I do not even own an American Express card. I don't even think they would give me an American Express card. So we are on a budget in my family, and I'm assuming that the majority of you are also budget minded and don't have a disposable income that is just endless. So you have to be careful with what you spend your money on. It has to make sense. So we did the must-haves to make sense. The first ones we brought out were the ovals, and the oval straight edge and the oval scallops have already been released. The rectangles are the next set, and not next month, not in May, but in June, there'll be another set, which I think is the circles. I think we did circles next. So we will be following the same timeline as we did last year with the originals, which just had straight edges with the stitched and the crosshatch and the dots. Now we've got scallop. And don't worry, I have a storyboard for you, so I will show you those. Now the first two in the I Want It All is, we've got Magical Innocence, and we have got You've Got a Friend in Me. So Here we've got our little guy on a swing, on a tire swing from the tree. You've got the little dog jumping if you want to add him. And then you've got the saying, children look for magic because they see it. And that's true. Children see things we don't see. They hear the bell in Polar Express. They see the magic that sometimes we adults grow out of. And I refuse to grow out of that. So children look for magic because they see it. They know to look for magic. And then you've got the set that we were playing with today. All of those dies are separate dies, and you've got a friend in me. So even if you just love the birds, the sun, and the You've Got a Friend in Me, it's a $13.99 die unless you do the I Want It All collection. And these are the first two dies in the I Want It All collection. The next two dies are A Boy's Imagination and Your Limits Are Beyond the Sky. So we've got him and again another little dog. And imagination is a preview of life's coming attractions. That's what the dies say. You've got him blowing bubbles up to the sky. You've got the beautiful tree that you don't have to use him at all. I kept him and the little doggy separate. So if you just wanted to use this as a set with some other die in there, you absolutely could. Here he is all put together. And then Your Limits Are Beyond the Sky. And here he is running, throwing a paper airplane. And again, I kept him separate just in case you wanted to use the frame all by itself. So he'll fit right there in that frame, and I will show you samples of him. Love him running with the airplane throwing, blowing bubbles. The little doggy's all by itself. The bubbles are by itself. So those are the next two in the I Want It All collection. The last two in the I Want It All collection are You're the Sun to My Shine and Believe That You Can. So here we have our little boy splashing in the water, kicking up a puddle, and the words that you get are You are the sun to my shine. Yes, those are dies and you get them as well. And then Believe That You Can. And that was the die that we were working with today. And again, those are the words that you get with the sentiment or with the die. So if you buy these individually, they're $13.99, which still is a rock star price for all you're getting. $13.99 for that one die with the words. But if you were to take advantage of the I Want It All, then you get all 6 of these dies that I just showed you, all 6 sets for $59.99 in our effort to keep crafting affordable. Holy smokes, artichokes. Then we have the must-haves. And Elena has just put together an amazing amount of different samples of the rectangles. So you've got the scale. Look at how cute is that. All the little pieces that go with it cut into, don't cut out. How darling is this? You've got crosshatch from the first set. You've got the dots and dash with this set. You can mix and match to everything that you want with one set. And if you have both of them, oh my goodness, see, and I think this is, I love this. I love this die. I love how it looks. I love the frame aspect of it. It's got the scalloped edges. Here's the full set with just the dots. I could have done these big dots with the first set with the straight edges across them. Here, if you're just doing, you just want mats, here are all the mats with the scallop on it. You have so many options with the must-haves. We just tried to give you everything I possibly could in a die set that we could fit on the metal, because I'm paying for the metal, so I fit as much as I possibly can. And then make it as affordable as I possibly can. Then we have our contour die. And here's our contour die. So you have all the little bits and pieces are separate. Here's the main die of the tree house. And then when he's all put together, really cute. Yes, the little kitty comes with it. Little kitties right there. This is the contour die. This is not sold with the I Want It All collection. This is a separate die, but it is $15.99. And again, all of that is $15.99. The trees, the die, the little boy, the clouds, you get it all. And that's what it looks like when you put it together. Last but not least, I have my sentiments. So sentiments. I'm doing a sentiment stamp set with with most of my releases because I find it hard to find sentiments other than happy birthday, best wishes, good for you, not even good for you. Maybe good for you should be one. Ooh, that might work. You are someone's reason to smile. You don't have to be perfect to be amazing. Don't stop until you're proud. I think these are great for boys and girls. Courage doesn't always roar. Sometimes courage is the quiet voice at the end of the day saying, I will try again tomorrow. Sometimes you just need to hear that. What we learn becomes a part of who we are. Mistakes are proof that you are trying. I hate it when people think that failing or making a mistake is, making a mistake is failure. No, mistakes are proof that you're trying and that you're going to learn and you're going to do better. You're going to try. If you don't try, you don't get anything. I love you're somebody's reason to smile. And I like that. Well, I like them all. I like them all. I can't. This is mine, so I like them all. And sometimes you just need a word of encouragement. And these are not gender specific. You absolutely can use these for boys, girls, men, women, anybody at any age who just needs a little bit of something. Maybe they need to know that they're somebody's reason to smile. Maybe they had a rough day. Maybe something didn't go as well as they thought. Maybe they didn't get the job. Maybe they didn't get the job and they need courage to go out and try again. Or maybe their science project didn't work exactly the way they wanted. These are awesome sentiments to make a sweet little card for and send it on its way. So these are $9.99 for my stamps. All right, so we have the stamps, we have the contour die, we have the must-haves, and then we have the 6 dies that make up the I Want It All bundle. And if you don't want them all, I understand. I'm okay with that. Then you just buy the ones you want individually for $13.99, which is still a really good price. All right, now let's get to the fun part, the samples. Okay, so these are some that the girls made downstairs. So here we've got our little guy in gold embossing powder, and he was double embossed. And then the make and take that they're doing downstairs. Here we used the Earth and Sky kit to do it all. We made the background on Stacy tape. Literally put a piece of Stacy tape on top of paper, peeled it off, and drizzled all the powders around. And then we did him also out of the Earth and Sky kit. Here we've got our little dude swinging on his tire swing with the dog barking. Here we have our guy throwing his paper airplane. Here we have our little puddle. Double embossed. And here we have the contour, just in copper. And the copper embossing, detailed embossing powder is sold separately. It's not part of either of the kits that we have. Although next time I think I'm going to make it part of one of the kits. Love him. Then we have Michelle. And Michelle has a daughter. So she made our little dude into a little girl. And you could even cut the tail off the cat. The cat's got a cute little tail on this one. And you can cut it off and add it. And she made a girl out fishing. This is Michelle. And then we've got our little guy raining. And yes, the raindrops come with them. You get dies to do the raindrops, and you get the dies that say, you're the sun to my shine. This is Michelle. Then we have Claire. And Claire used pencils to put him together. And Renia paper. Oh, I wonder if I was supposed to open these up. Oh, I was. Look at. They've got the sentiments in all of them. Gosh darn it. Oh, they sure do. Well, gosh darn it, you guys, you forgot to tell me, or if you told me, I forgot. Okay, this one doesn't. How cute is he? He's got sentiment on the front. See, there I know. How cute is he? Oh, not this one either, yay. Here he's throwing his paper airplane. And then you've got the contour. Nope, good. Thanks, Claire. All right, then we have Elena. And Elena has made a mixed media piece. So you've got all the little boys and the trees. Now this little box is a Prima box. There were little Prima embellishments in this, little wooden embellishments, and she kept the box, took it, and added all of our little guys to her, and then it stands up. It's on an easel. So that's Elena. Then Elena made little earrings out of the dogs. She used Shrinky Dink. I almost said Shrunky Dunk. She used Shrinky Dink to make the earrings. And then we have Elena's box. Now she did this the first time for the Be Who You Are collection. So we've got the box with the contour on the top. But then inside the box, you've got a shaker on the lid. But then she made a fold out. So you've got all the different dies on all the pages. I mean, it goes for forever. She used every die to make an accordion. And then on the back side, she's got all the sentiments, she's got all the dies, and it stays right inside the little box. It's attached right inside to the little box. Look at, you are the sun to my shine. I love that. How cute is that? And you just pull it all the way out, and she's decorated both sides. She did this for the girl collection, so she felt like she needed to do it for the boy collection too. And then Claire did this one here. Let me see if I can get it over. She made, okay, I don't want to know what this was, what she was drinking. But she's got the little boy on it. She's got the little puppy dogs from all the different sets all over the lampshade. And then of course you turn it on. Of course you do. Is that so cute? Love the lampshade. Is that the cutest thing ever? This is Claire. And then we've got Belinda, and Belinda did a banner, and it says play for fun. And on each of the words she has paper pieced. Oh, Belinda. She has paper pieced. I gotta see if I can get it. There we go. Play for fun. And she paper pieced each one of the little boys, which means she die cut him several times. There's Belinda. She put the little guy in her camo shorts because Belinda wears camo shorts. But you've got this cute little banner using the grasses from the different dies. She's just chopped them up, and then she paper pieced each little dude. So cute. So much work. I mean, really, so much work to do all that paper piecing. Look at how sweet. So this is Belinda and her banner. And then I also have Belinda has a cute little tag just with the doggy and the cat. Because it wouldn't be Belinda if we didn't have the cat somewhere. And then we've got her little stand-up. How cute is that? And she used my must-haves for the rectangle and put the dotties in there and all the dies. She actually used the boys from the dies. She didn't even use the frames that they come with. And then this is Belinda's layout. And the cat, of course. So I don't see these until literally right now. That way I am as in awe and surprised and amazed and there's the cat. It wouldn't be Belinda if the cat wasn't there. So this is Belinda's layout. Then we have Doris. And let me grab some of Doris's. Now here's Doris's contour. How beautiful is that? This is Doris. And then you've got, oh, wait. Yeah, see, I knew better. This is Doris. Then you've got the stamped image of one of my sayings on the inside. And then you've got, you are the sun. To my shine. And this is Doris. And then what you learn becomes part of who you are. This is Doris. And then last but not least, we have got her layout, which is so pretty. And she's used the original straight edge must-haves with the larger dots from the new set. You've got the scallops going on. Don't stop until you're proud. And that must be Katie playing softball. Catherine is now a fully grown adult with an awesome job, graduated through college. We're very proud of her. Super cute, right? All done with the must-haves. This is Doris, and this is her layout. Don't stop until you're proud. Oh, look, and she's got the trophy. Okay, I'm gonna tilt up. And I'm going to say, oh, well, I think I'm going to tilt up, and I tilted up and I moved and everything else. Holy smokes, artichokes. Okay. Oh, I'm going to go back. Back. Okay. Oh my gosh. I'm going to have to check my tripod. Oh, or I need to hire somebody who knows how to work a camera. Okay, it's me, Stacy, Scrapbooking Made Simple. April 2018 collection of Simply Defined, Boys to Men. We've got them. When they're gone, they're gone. If you love them, awesome, please order them. If you don't, that's okay too. You won't hurt my feelings. But I hope you learned something in this YouTube. I hope that you learned about your embossing powders and what more you can do with it. And that you can take a die cut with ugly paper and cover it up and make it something fabulous. And double embossing. If you don't like those little pits in your embossing and you want to make it more smooth and more uniform, just emboss it again. You can do that. All right, it's me, Stacy, scrapbookingmadesimple.com. I will see you next week for National Scrapbooking Day. Bye.